All right. Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday on this wonderful last week of October. So I want to be able to introduce two gentlemen that we've been able to collaborate during the pandemic. And first, I want to introduce Dave, my buddy right here, who's a not former, he used to be in the Marine Corps with me. And I got Terry Camp, a fine gentleman out of Vegas. Correct, Terry?
That's correct.
So this is another gentleman that's been able to mentor me as well and give some fantastic information for individuals that need to know. And I think that here's a golden opportunity for us to be able to share some information for a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of businesses as well, because we've noticed a trend and things that have been able to change here in the last in the last 3 years, but especially this year in 2022, we've been understanding that it's a lot of dynamics, entrepreneurship. We're talking about people to be able to change the way we think and the power of social media. So if you like the segment of LinkedIn Perspective, share it, like it, tag it. My channel is LinkedIn Perspective on YouTube. It's for the veterans and first responders especially, but it doesn't take away the opportunity for other individuals to be able to more or less embrace the opportunity. Thanks to LinkedIn that it has given me the opportunity to do this LinkedIn Live with the broadcast of Facebook Live and YouTube. And so therefore, moving forward, I want to introduce Dave Diaz. So go ahead, Dave, knock yourself out. There you go.
Hey, Hiram, I'm excited to be on the platform, and congratulations. I see this is your 105th episode, which is awesome. You're always bringing great content to veterans, helping veterans, and both of us being Marines, it's just kind of trying to help out everyone we can. And I'm excited about. Actually not even new. It's been a revised program to be able to help out business owners, whether it's military business owners or other business owners. It's going to be a variety of business owners, but anybody that wants to help out, like the military veterans with any kind of non-for-profit, also would also apply to. But I wanted to just I'm excited about being here. And thanks for all you do. And I just wanted to introduce Terry. He's kind of has a little bit more experience on this program, and wanted him to kind of talk a little bit about what we're doing, what it takes to for business to apply, and who actually can apply as well. So with that, I'll take it over. I'll turn it over to Terry.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Hiram, thanks for having me on this morning. Appreciate being here. And about 3 months ago, so I've been involved real quick in a lot of team building, a lot of direct sales over the last, candidly, 50 years. But some things come along every once in a while, and there's a timing to it. And this particular opportunity in terms of creating money for businesses came up this year, specifically because of some changes to the Employee Retention Tax Credit program. And, back in 2020, we all suffered through a bunch of lockdowns, and the government offered PPP loans, and some businesses took that. Some people went after the SBA loans, and the PPP was ultimately forgiven, or at least most of those. And at the time, if you took a PPP loan, you could not participate in the ERC, the Employee Retention Credit. Well, 2 amendments and about 1,000 pages later, and 2 years removed, that all changed earlier this year, and it allowed businesses that took the PPP loan to actually go back and take the ERC grant. And the beauty of this particular grant is that it is not, you don't have to pay it back. It's not a loan, it's a grant. So there's $1 trillion sitting in an account waiting to go back to business owners of all sizes. And I mean, heck, Best Buy was able to participate in this with 105,000 employees. So businesses of all sizes can take advantage of this. And what it really comes down to, it's a credit back based on some things that were paid out for the employees that were retained, hence the Employee Retention Tax Credit. And this year, one of the caveats that was added was a nominal business impact clause. So a lot of companies might have looked at this last year. They might have had their CPAs, accountants, things like that, look at it and say they didn't qualify because whatever, they made more money or different kinds of things. those things are, while they still apply, this nominal business impact clause came along. So if a company, even if they made more money, a restaurant, for instance, had to move tables out for social distancing, that is a nominal business impact. It causes them to qualify. If a business had to put screens up, the plexiglass screens, if they had to do that, then that was a nominal business impact. They qualify. If they had to do outdoor service instead of indoor or whatever, it's a myriad of different reasons that qualify for the nominal business impact. So many businesses are now going after that, but there are a lot of people, particularly smaller businesses, that maybe have 5 to, let's call it 100 employees. They're busy running their business and they may not know about the program. Not every accountant, not every CPA knows about it because, again, it's 1,000 pages worth of information. So to me, it's important to work with an entity that is specializing in the ERC refund back to companies and getting with somebody who knows how to do that to maximize what a company can get back, which is up to $26,000 per employee. So a business with 10 employees, you're talking about $250,000. It's not small change. And many businesses qualify as long as they know about it. So been pretty excited to share that with businesses. Many businesses already know about it, but I was talking to a handful of them yesterday, and 2 of those people had no idea about they had heard about it, and maybe people have seen this, but didn't think they qualified for various reasons. Once I explained to them some of the changes, they were like, yeah, absolutely, we want to do that. So anyway, this is the kind of big overview on the program, and happy to get into more specifics if you guys want to do that.
Yeah, I want to start off and explain to them, why is it that a lot of businesses don't know about it? And can you expand how much of an amount and how much compliance and how long do you think it's going to last? Terry,
yeah,
go ahead.
So first of all, obviously the program started in 2020, so it hasn't been around all that long. Businesses that were in business before March of 2020 can apply. If they started after that, don't apply. So that's number one. Number two, many businesses don't know about the changes to it. They might have known about it back in 2020 because, we're keeping it real. All of us as business owners were looking for money because they had everything shut down. And at that point, if they went with the PPP, they knew in their mind that they didn't qualify for ERC. Well, if they don't know about these changes, specifically this nominal business impact clause, in their mind, they're probably just discounting the whole thing and not even willing to look at it because they just know they didn't qualify back in the day. So most of these businesses aren't aware of the changes that were made, and that's the big deal here, and that they're not aware of that. In terms of the impact, what it does, it pays per employee $5,000 per employee for 2020 as a max. Then in 2021, for the employees that were retained, it pays back up to $7,000 per quarter per employee with a max. So they maximize that at $26,000 total. If you do the math on it, that's more like, 32,000, 33,000, but the cap is 26,000. So just be aware of that. But if you took some PPP loan, that's going to come off of that. They'll adjust it for what was taken on the PPP. But there's still probably 15,000 per employee available to businesses all over the country.
So Dave, you got to know Terry. Now, how do you see it from your perspective? We're both Marines, and you served some time, but from a business owner, and a more or less, you have a stronger relationship with Terry. How do you see it? That what kind of value does that bring to you and to others from your perspective?
I think it's great, right? Like Terry was saying earlier, a lot of businesses were shut down and impacted, and they lost revenue, right? During that time period. So I think it's great that the government put a program together to kind of assist and help out a little bit about, with all the businesses that struggled through that, to be able to, it's like, hey, here's something to help out a little bit while you guys were shut down, because obviously the shutdowns, a lot of instances businesses didn't have a choice. They had to shut down. So I think this is this is phenomenal for, for them to be able to apply and get those funds. And that kind of leads me to the next question. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, it's like, all right, who do I apply? Who do I apply with? How do I apply? So maybe Terry could talk a little bit about our partner that we partnered up with, Bottom Line.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And I'll talk about Bottom Line Concepts in just a second. As you're talking, Dave, I'm thinking about, what people need to understand is every business type can qualify. They should submit to at least find out if they qualify. Churches. I mean, how impacted were churches during 2020? Think about that. Most of them aren't even around anymore, particularly the smaller ones. Nonprofits qualify for all of this. The monies that come back are not earmarked for anything. So whatever dollars come back, you can use for anything. The government's not intervening, like, with the SBA loan, there were some very specific things that you had to do and monitor for that. But this is not that. This is a grant. This is basically giving you money back. So it's not taxable. It's not earmarked for anything. It's a great situation. For me, I think companies would do themselves well if they blessed their employees that stuck around through all that, particularly with what we've got going on now, but obviously that's up to them. And we work with Bottom Line Concepts, who is the second largest entity of its type in the US for governmental fund recovery. So they've been around for 14 years now. They've got a team of CPAs working specifically on ERC recovery right now. They've been doing that for 14 months, know exactly what to do. One of the things I love about it is the business owner can take 10 minutes, get on a Zoom or a phone call with them, walk through a handful of questions, and you're going to know, the business owner is going to know whether they qualify, number one, and what amount they would probably qualify for. At that point, they get to decide to go forward or not. 100% free to take a look, but you're going to learn, you're going to get your answers from a company that has expertise in this specific area. And a lot of businesses that I talk to will say something along the lines of, well, our accounting department's looking at it, or our CPA told me I didn't qualify, or whatever. If in fact, by this time, a business owner has not been made aware of the program and the changes by their current CPA, bookkeeper, or internal accounting department, then they should not utilize those people for this recovery. Because if the people knew about it, they would have already brought it to the business owner's attention. That's just my opinion, but now they're going to have to go learn. Again, 1,000 pages worth of documentation in this current, grant, and they're going to have to go learn all of that stuff, or learn a lot of it, to see what is necessary to get the maximum benefit back. So that's what Bottom Line Concepts does very, very well. They know all the things that need to be known right up front, and it's free for the business owner to go find out what it is they're going to qualify for.
How much does a business? Go ahead here. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. I was just
going to ask Terry, how much does it cost a business owner to submit? To have all the paperwork submitted. Do they have to pay up front? How does that work, Terry?
Yeah, one of the great things is there's no cost to go look. There's no cost to submit. The only time there's a cost, there's going to be a roughly 20-ish% contingency that Bottom Line will work on. And it depends on the size of the business, the complexity, and things like this. But you'll know that, the business owner will know that when they get done with the initial phone call with Bottom Line Concepts. What happens then is, once they get their check back from the government, then the contingency amount that's agreed to by the business is paid out only after they get their dollars. So right now, the time frame for companies to get their monies back can range from 3 months to 6 months, again, depending on the size and the complexity. But once that happens, then they would pay back Bottom Line Concepts.
So, Terry, when we spoke the first time, when we got to meet and we learned to collaborate, right? You're not too much of a social media person, because you're pretty much old school when you're going, door knocking everything out. What this, I'm looking, and I think that normally I get a lot of people on there, and I got to say, I'm looking at it live. I don't see any people I normally get like 200 to 500. I got Joe Donut, but I'm not going to worry about that. They'll listen to this. But anyway, getting back to you, How do you see as a visionary, as an entrepreneur, right? You've been in this business, you've been doing the nuts and bolts from the ground up. And what does this mean about putting it on social media? What's the difference on your end? How do you see it?
Yeah, so there's a lot of, I'll just say, people jumping on the ERC bandwagon. Now, it's been around, the program's been around for obviously 2.5, almost 3 years, not 2.5, but it changed earlier this year. Some people started to take advantage of that early this year. There's $1 trillion, and that's coming down, every month, basically, because businesses are submitting their documents for their funds. A lot of advertisements, in my opinion. It's making people aware, but most people, because of the nature of social media today, are leery of what is being marketed to them. So if people have a comfort level with the person that's talking to them about it, my opinion, they're probably going to be more apt to go along with those people. A lot of the business owners I talk to today, because I've been at this for about 3 months myself, and early on, there were people that I knew. That was very, very easy to do because we had that comfort level. Now I'm talking to businesses that, they don't know me from Adam, but when they understand the reality that they have money available to come to them, they're willing to at least listen. And so social media can be a great thing, specifically with the people that there is some sort of a relationship with. So if you know business owners that, have whatever, 10, 20, 50 employees, it would be really good to reach out to those people specifically to have that conversation, because they're going to be more likely to go ahead and move forward. Really, there's not a lot to it. Either you're going to do the phone call or Zoom, or you're not. But to find out for 10 minutes, in particular, if you can just do the math, $25,000, that's the way I look at it. And let's just call it $20,000 per employee in pocket. 50 employees, it's $1 million. It's a big bunch of money for a 10-minute phone call.
So,
Go ahead, Aaron.
with that being said, right, let me reiterate. If you like this podcast of LinkedIn Perspective, share it, like it, tag it. This broadcast is brought to you by LinkedIn Perspective on YouTube. Subscribe it. Make sure you get your thoughts in. As I'm looking at it, it's been a while since I've been on this podcast, and I don't understand why I'm not getting the responses I'm getting, but we're going to keep on going because it's very important. Dave, now from your end, how do you see it from a different perspective? We've talked to Terry now. This is you. You're your single parent. You're doing it. You're in Chicago. How do you see it on your end so people can see it from your side?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of tag along with what Terry was saying. As far as business owners, it's not going to take anything away from them. And I think one thing that a lot of people want to know is, like, who am I working with? What type of customers has Bottom Line helped with already, and helped recover funds. And I think Terry, a little bit about some major logos that they've helped in the past, to kind of give them case studies and ideas of what kind of companies Bottom Line's worked with.
So Terry, my whole thing is, what have you had anyone that's pretty much very skeptical about what you've talked about, and what has been the prognosis, and what kind of results they've gotten from that point on? If you can elaborate on that.
Yeah, everybody comes to the table with a different perspective. So churches, as an example, I talked to the pastor at the church that I'm at, and their big thing was they wanted no governmental intervention. They did not want to have to answer to anything whatsoever. If there was going to be anything like that attached to getting the money back, they were out. And so what I did, I just got them on the phone with one of the CPAs. We walked through it, and they were like, wow, okay, that brought a comfort level. So they were willing to move forward. We have others that, again, is the program really real? So we can just get them information on the program itself. Once they understand that it's a governmental program, it opens the door quite a bit, helping them to understand that the client base that Bottom Line Concepts has is massive. I mean, Boston Red Sox, that's one of their clients. New York Yankees, Martha Stewart Living, Nobu Hotels. I mean, it goes on their list, and we can get that for people if they need it. But their client list is just their sports division has probably 40 professional sports teams just in the sports division. So they've been doing this at a very, very, very high level. And I think last I heard they had collected about, I want to say about $5 billion back in credits for companies that they're representing.
So that's an outstanding thought process, of how things are taking an event. But the other thing I want to ask Dave, what do you think about nonprofit and other organizations, Dave? How can they benefit from this as well? From what you
Yeah, I mean, they actually would qualify as well. Obviously, they would have to talk to Bottom Line. And I was going to ask you, I don't know if you have a link you could post on here, because I'm sure people are saying, hey, how do I start a conversation with Bottom Line? So maybe you could post it on there. If not, maybe I could try to see if I could find it here in a few minutes for you as well.
Yeah.
But like Terry was saying, it for a business owner, it makes a lot of sense. And and we all know that business owners are running around doing a million things, but this is actually money sitting in a fund waiting to be distributed to them. So it would make a lot of sense. It's like, hey, this is not going to take a lot of time from anyone in my organization to get the ball rolling. I'm going to get some information, some documentation, but to get 26 to 100,000 plus, I think it's worth a 10-15 minute call to see whether it's going to work for you or not.
Yep.
So Terry, how do you see it as far as other organizations can benefit that are very skeptical? I mean, you've been doing this for a while. I'm learning it. I post this on LinkedIn, and people don't really understand that, when we talk about something that's not high, what can I say, that's not very high visibility, especially something like this, because people like to talk about current events, right? Certain things that grasp. But now when we're talking about financial needs and monies, people are not really paying attention to that. And then by the time they really pay attention, all is gone. Why do you think that's happening, Terry? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I know for me, I don't know about other business owners. I know even back in 2020, the PPP loan, I got the documents together pretty quick. I also looked at an SBA loan, and then I was just like, oh man, do I want to go through all of this? And I was having this conversation with myself during that time, even though I'm like, this would be a great thing. Do I want this? Am I willing to go through this process? Do I want the scrutiny afterwards? I think Dave said something very important. Businesses, I'll case in point. I have a gal, a business owner. They own 2 restaurants here in the Henderson, Las Vegas area. And they probably have 40 employees. That's just my guess, but 40 employees. And I have been talking with her for probably a month and a half about submitting the documents. And her answer, the last answer back was, every time I sit down to start the process, I get interrupted. Now, she's running her business day to day, and I get that they got to do that. But we're also talking about $1 million that they could get a check for if she would just spend 2 hours to get the documents together. And I'm trying to tell her, is it worth $500,000 an hour to sit down and do this? And still today hasn't done it yet. There's $1 million sitting there ready to come to her. I don't understand why that is, but again, she's busy running her day-to-day business and can't let whatever she's juggling, can't let any of those fall. So my belief, Hiram, is that this is the issue for people. They're not sure about what they could qualify for, and therefore won't take the time to do it. And my strong recommendation is to take just 10 minutes and find out. 10 minutes is all it's going to take, and you would have a pretty good idea of what that business would qualify for, what they would have to do. And candidly, if they use an outsource for all of their accounting, it's literally, I need this report for this year, this report for these 4 quarters, and that's it. That's what they need to get together. Could take somebody whatever, an hour if they did it themselves. If they got an outside a payroll system, all they need to do is ask for the reports. It's going to be that simple. So
I think
to figure out. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't let you finish your thought, but to your point, right? I think people are so consumed with their day-to-day businesses. There's opportunities, but they complain, right? I'm running out of money. I'm running out of resources. I don't have any some form of stream income. Dave, we talked about that, right? We talked about multiple streams of income, and how does this grant benefit people from what you understand if you were given the opportunity to do that? How would that benefit you, and how would that benefit people in your immediate circle?
As far as the grant and being able to introduce this to other business owners, is that what you're relating to?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're all affiliates of Bottom Line. So there's an opportunity through Hiram to sign up as an affiliate as well. If you have multiple business owners that you know as well, you could actually refer that to, you would actually get a link and you'd be able to refer them to Bottom Line as well. And that would bring some.
You froze. Go ahead. Keep on going. You froze for a minute, Dave.
Oh yeah. And that would bring some revenue to you also.
So, but the other thing is that if you notice, Terry, I took the QR code and I posted it. And can you explain to people what does that do for the people of the QR code, as well?
Yeah, it would simply take them to the Bottom Line Concepts landing page, which will give them an overview of the whole program. There'll be a 3-minute video in there. That video gives them, again, that same information in video form, what they need to do, what Bottom Line Concepts does. And there are basically 14 steps that need to occur. Now, before you freak out, people, you only need to do one of those steps. We just need to get people to Bottom Line Concepts to help them understand. The business owner themselves will need to supply just some basic information, and then Bottom Line Concepts takes it from there. But the cool thing is, in that landing page, everything is explained on one page. And so to me, it takes all the scary out of it. It's for sure worth clicking on that to see what they would get back. And, Bottom Line Concepts, just so you know, works with companies that are 5 employees and larger, up to 500 employees. And that's the real sweet spot. So I think it's, again, back to the whole thing about the time. People are in business to make money, and here they have the opportunity to get money, which is what they're busy trying to do. It's just that they can, in essence, this is my word, this is not like a legal word but a windfall. They're going to get a windfall. They're going to get a credit back for because they were willing to go through the lockdowns and all the business impact while retaining employees. This is basically a thank you for staying with it. That's the way I look at it. So one thing, let me just say one last thing. I had a friend of mine who, excuse me, I talked to a gal, and they'd moved their restaurant a couple of times. She was getting ready to close down by the end of this year.
Wow.
We went in, talked to her about this program, and realized that they could get back, I think in their case, it was about $140,000. And so when she found that out, she was in tears, number one, because they were struggling to play catch up. This is a smaller town, and because she was able to do that, it was life changing for her. So it was just a great thing to be able to do that for people, particularly not just in today's environment, but we probably have some more difficult times coming from an inflation standpoint, from an economic standpoint. And if businesses can take advantage of this, it can be basically a lifesaver over the next 6 months.
So, you bring a valid point, right? You see my little boy back there is chilling out, so he probably enjoyed the conversation. He's sleeping. But we talk about the economic crisis, right? We've talked about the housing market. We talk about the inflation, shrinkation. You go to the grocery store. 3 years ago, a bag of groceries would cost you $30, $40. Now it's costing you like $60 to $70. people don't realize that they don't have the priorities that they have because we have too much freedom. And then I think that, putting it on this social media platform that's going to digitally record itself. And needless to say, once we finish this, I'm going to find out why I'm not getting the responses I normally get. But that's why I disclose everything, because I think it's important for people to understand the value of what's brought in here, because people kind of more or less, and when I say people, business owners, overpromise and underdeliver in a lot of things and a lot of concepts when it comes to financial gains, opportunities, and grants. But here is a solid concept that is given by the government that you've been able to do, Terry, that you've been able to pass to David, that David's able to reach out to me. And here's an opportunity for all three of us to express our concerns and explain in detail for the general audience to understand. Well, I don't believe what Hiram's saying. Go check it out. There's a lot of links out there. Prior to the show, I explained to David that, I saw it on Google. I saw it on Bing. You look it up, you type it in there. There's different links out there for this ERC. But people are too busy, being sidetracked and not taking the opportunity because the pandemic and everything else has happened 3 years. So they're not focusing on how they can, spring back on a situation like you say, that small business owner in tears, right? Was stressed out. And here's an opportunity that we can help people out, and we can help veteran-owned businesses also, especially veteran-owned businesses or disabled veteran-owned businesses also that can, capitalize this at thanks to the government, because they created this. But at the same time, I see it as the priorities that people are not seeing is only at the last minute when it's convenient. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, when you were asking Terry that question earlier, it seems like business owners, obviously they're in business and they're focused on what they love, right? So, being in technology so many years, I saw many business owners that would not apply the right security to their business, right? It's because it took additional work from what they loved. So, and I've seen that with a lot of companies that for marketing, right? It's like, we'll market when we can, right? And that's obviously security is very important, marketing is very important, and I think a lot of people are doing the same thing with this program. And if you actually just take 10, 15 minutes, see that it's real money coming in, it's going to be a huge benefit for you, for you or for your employees. Or if you're making a lot of money, it's like, hey, I don't need this. Like Terry was mentioning earlier, share the wealth with your employees. I mean, with the economy, the way it's going, people are looking for additional revenue. So I think that's great. And then the other thing I wanted to mention as well is working with the trusted advisor. Hiram, you got this great platform. I think people know you. So I think that's a great platform to, all this content with people. It's like, hey, you know what? You guys know Hiram. Hiram's been around. He's going to be here for a while. I'm sure there's other people reaching out to you. But as business owners, we always want to work with people that we know closely. So I think that's so I just tell everyone, just take 10, 15 minutes to talk the bottom line with the link and the actual QR code that Hiram put on here, and see how it could benefit you.
Thanks, Dave. So Terry, right? Here's the thing. Today, I just found out that Powerball went to 800 million. People are rushing to buy that, right? People are rushing to. I went last night. I bought some tickets. My wife says, "Go buy some tickets." I said, "I go and buy some tickets." I go like this. She prays. I go up early in the morning after the gym. I see it go to 800 million. So I went, "Hey, so what happened?" We don't know. So I said, nobody won. So somebody won like 5 out of 6 numbers here in Rancho Cucamonga. But here's the oxymoron, right? People are willing to go and buy a lottery ticket to get what they think and spend 20, 30, 100. I think when it got to $1.5 billion, there's Keynes, the CEO of Keynes, spent almost $50,000 in lottery tickets for his employees to gain it. So my whole thing, right, and I'm playing the devil's advocate, if people are willing to do something that unconventional, right, because they're taking a risk, and who's to say who's going to win? Here's a golden opportunity where we have the ERC that's, created by the government, compliance by the government, built by the government. There's trusted advisors. Why are not people doing that, Terry? Let me ask you that.
Yeah. What cracks me up about the whole lottery Powerball thing, when it's $100 million, it's not worth me buying a ticket. Once it gets to 800 million, man, I better go buy a ticket. Cracks me up. But the thing that you're saying is, this is not a lottery ticket. This is real, and it's a given. If you've been in business since before March 2020, you are going to get money back. And it doesn't matter whether you made more money in 2021 than 2020. It doesn't matter. And a lot of people think that because their business, whatever, grew, they don't qualify. That's not the fact. You gotta go understand what it is. The qualifications have changed. The parameters have changed. You, particularly if you got a PPP loan, with 100% certainty, you qualify for the ERC right now to get more money. 100% certainty. So it's not like this is they're not gambling on this. This is something that is available. Now, we could argue the merits of government with 31 trillion in debt, giving back $1 trillion, but that's a whole nother conversation. The point is, we are all in the same financial situation, every single one of us, because of what's happening in our economy. So if in fact there's money available to come back to business owners, man, 100%, they should take advantage of it and just lift your head enough out of the day-to-day minutia of running your business and all the activity that has to go along with that. Carve out a couple of hours. Well, first, carve out 10 minutes to go find out what you would qualify for. And then decide, is that worth my hour or 2 hours to go get the documents together to then submit the documents? And what's going to happen 3 to 6 months later, they're going to get a check and they got to assess, is it worth my 10 minutes, which I hope that it is by this time. Mm-hmm. And then once that's done, they'll know whether it's worth the time investment to get all the documents together, which is not a ton. They're all documents that are available. It's just getting the documents together.
Well, you make
and I love that story you told about the lady that was almost losing her business, Terry. I'm sure there's many people on here hearing this right now. It's like, is there someone that can help me? Is there something out there? And here is the program. So, it's in front of you. Take advantage of it. Reach out to Hiram with any questions, or Terry and I as well. We'll be willing to help you out with any questions.
So, Dave, let me ask you a question, right? Here's another one I'm going to throw out, right? And all due respect to Kanye West, right? Everybody's like focusing on unnecessary stuff, right? Here's a guy that, freedom of speech, he does everything, but everybody's focused. But here's the thing. He loses his money, but he still has money. But here's what people don't understand is that this guy, for whatever beliefs he has, right? And I'm just using this as an analogy, believes in what he is. But other people, as you stated, Terry and Dave, people are too focused on the business and not focusing on, hey, here's an opportunity. Let me step back. Maybe I need to hit the reset button. Maybe I need to pay attention to what's going on. And what do I have to lose except 10 or 15 minutes or 2 hours of my life versus, listening to the news, listen to some minutia of, hey, this popular icon is everything else, or getting back to, hey, it's 800 million. There's people lining up just to buy that. I mean, where is the priorities? And people don't understand in this, social media platform, LinkedIn, that I've been here for 20 years. People want to like things, but they want to get given. And at the same time, they put themselves in a position where they overpromise and underdeliver. This is not a thing of overpromise and underdeliver, right, Terry?
Nope. It's a given. It's right there in front of people. All they got to do is reach out and grab it. Literally, that's all this is.
Say as well, as Terry had mentioned that some business owners may have applied for this last year. A lot of the rules have changed, as Terry was stating. So you may want to take a look at it again to see if you qualify underneath the new rules and regulations.
Yep.
So Terry, can you elaborate if anything has changed? What could be the worst case scenario on this?
Well, worst case scenario is they got what they got and they're done. Best case scenario is even if they did take some of the ERC money, if they didn't get the full amount that they're owed, they can get more ERC money. So bottom line can reapply on their behalf. So that's what the phone call could be about. I mean, here's what we got back. And if they got, I'm just making numbers up now, but if they got 5,000 per employee for 2020, but they didn't get the 2021 numbers, well, hey man, that's another 21 grand that's out there waiting for them if they reapply. So, so those are the kinds of things that people need to be aware of, that, you know, the parameters have changed. And if they don't know that, they're going, if they're not open to new information, they're going to stick with the information they have, even though it might be outdated. How about that? So,
yeah, I get it. Go ahead, finish what you guys. So
yeah, I was just going to say, it's worth talking to experts in the field to find out where you're at.
Dave, you know, in your side of the country, right, in the Midwest, right, where things are a little bit different. From your perspective, what, you know, you've done technology, but business owners, how do you see it? What is it that they're lacking? Terry has told me from his side. I can tell you from my side here after I circle back with you. But from you, you know, just give them a little perspective of how you see it and why is it so important that we reach out to people today and we'll continue to reach out. And this is not a one-shot deal.
Yeah, you know what? I've always been in the model, and even in technology, it's like, you know what? Something that always got me up is being able to bring a value to people or bring a value to that business, right? So I see this as the same thing. Hey, we're bringing a huge value to you. We're bringing money that's going to help your bottom line, and you know, to me, it doesn't make any sense why you wouldn't look at it. But you know, I do get it that some people get too busy. But you know, as we mentioned here a few times already, you know, take 10 minutes, talk to them, and see what could come out of it.
Terry, you've been in the business, right? When do you start seeing things turning around? And for you as a business owner and networking, and you've been pretty much hands-on with everybody else, aside from being virtual, what we're doing right now. What is the deciding factor, especially when we're dealing with the ERC? And what benefits and why is it that we're conveying this message to the general public today?
Well, number one, there is a finite amount of dollars available to businesses. That will run out. And when it does, it's over. And so if people wait, the longer they wait, the less chance they're going to have to actually get the funds. So that's a big, big deal. Number two, and again, this is just my opinion, even if a company's doing well, even if they're, you know, things aren't bad for them, look at it as blessing your employees, for crying out loud, man. People are struggling, particularly the employees, the middle class. They're going to continue. So look at this as a blessing for those people, if nothing else, because it's based on the number of employees. So they can turn around and do great things for their employees and get a great tax benefit out of the whole thing on top of all of that. And so, you know, the program itself goes for another couple of years, roughly. My humble opinion that by, I don't know, July, August of next year, it will probably be completed. So and what I mean is for companies to be able to file to still get funds. So waiting is a bad idea, in my opinion, just because it is a finite program.
Well, good. You know, you spoke and two people showed up. So I was like looking at my phone, but that's okay. It's going to be recording. I think for myself, you know, I'm doing my best to be able to collaborate with you and Dave to give different versions of it, because you notice when people speak about a certain item or product, they sometimes need to persuade it, and people kind of get caught up. And the biggest thing that I don't understand is if you can, and I follow people on TikTok, right? They're killing it. They're killing it by bringing content. They're bringing content that might be significant. But here we have a professional platform that's been here way before TikTok, that's been around here probably just as long as Facebook, for business owners. But people have their priorities because they haven't had the opportunity, or they chose not to have the opportunity to really research and leverage what we have, because we have a business professional site, but then we're talking professional language and things that are significant. But why is it that it's not important to them? Dave, Terry, which one? Who wants to go?
I think with the TikToks and you know, all those videos, people are just looking for a relief and, you know, just something to check out and relax a little bit. So I think that's why they're gaining a lot of leverage, right? They're looking for something funny to laugh at. And on the business platform, you know, maybe people might be just getting on there during working hours. And, you know, I have seen that increase with LinkedIn, where people are on there after hours, because I'm on there after hours as well. Mm-hmm. But I definitely see more on the other social medias after hours, more people being on, especially like on Facebook or Instagram.
Terry, I know you're not a social media guy, but you know, from your perspective, how important is it now? I've shared that. Just tell me, how do you look at it? We're going to be wrapping up here pretty soon.
Well, I mean, I'm almost 60, so you know, I see social media, things like that. I've never been able to figure out how to like market on social media, how to do all that stuff. It's just not my jam. A lot of people do, but there's a lot of noise, right? There's just a lot of noise on social media, and too much of it, again, my opinion is that it's all about look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. Here, legit, we're saying this is for you, Mr. or Mrs. person watching this. If you are a business owner, this is for you, to bless you, to benefit you. That's what this is. And I think, you know, a lot of people, if they're watching things, people are trying to promote their products and things like that on social media. And it's not that that's bad, don't get me wrong, but it always acts of, it's for my benefit. So they want to, you know, people are posting about things that benefit them. And in this particular scenario, this is about blessing other people. And I think that's, it's hard to discern and weed out what is real and what is not. And that's why I think social media is really more for entertainment, because people can't separate the wheat from the chaff.
Well, I look at it this way. We're going to have to wrap this up, but I'll tell you this much. It's been a great conversation. Terry, we'll start with you wrapping up. Leave it with one last thing for the audience, and then I'll go with Dave, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I would just say, do yourself and your business and your employees a favor, for those of you who have businesses, and please take 10 minutes, get on the link that Hiram put out there. Just go look, get some information, understand what you might not yet know, so that you can make a good decision. And you get to decide after that, but do yourself a favor and help out your business.
Dave, what you got?
Yeah, I think, like I mentioned earlier, you know, check in with Hiram, look at the link. Hiram's a trusted advisor. You know him. Hiram did mention there's a lot of other people out there promoting this. So obviously work with the people that you know. And also, if you did apply, like Terry was saying earlier, for ERC, there may be some money on the table still for you to collect. So I encourage everyone to look at Hiram's QR code, get signed up, or reach out to any one of us.
Well, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Dave. I want to thank you, Terry. I know you're a busy man. If you like the segment of LinkedIn Perspective, episode 105, share it, like it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, LinkedIn Perspective. This won't be the last time we do this. This is just a starting point, because we want to get the message out there. Once again, Terry, I appreciate your time. And Dave.
Pleasure.
So thank you very much. Stand by, guys. Everyone enjoy your day. Peace out.
Thank you.